It's the 31st of March 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Former Minister Tiran provides 5.5-hour statement to the CID. Court of Appeal orders release of female attorney-at-law who was remanded on a charge of contempt of court. Bar Association intervenes to secure release. Writ petition also filed. Do not limit the Batalanda Commission report to a parliamentary debate. Apply the law immediately. People's Struggle Alliance urges government. Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr today. Myanmar declares week of national mourning. Shammi Silva elected president of Sri Lanka cricket once more. In tonight's top story, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has reduced the prices of petrol, octane 92 and octane 95, each by 10 rupees per litre, with effect from midnight tonight. There are no changes to prices of other fuels. Petrol prices have been reduced with effect from midnight tonight. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation said that prices of petrol, octane 92 and 95 will accordingly be reduced by 10 rupees each. Meanwhile, Love's Gas has increased its LP gas prices with effect from midnight tonight. Accordingly, the price of a 12.5 kilogram cylinder will be increased by 420 rupees and the new price will be 4,100 rupees. A 5 kilogram cylinder will be increased by 168 rupees and the new price will be 1,645 rupees. In more local news, the Criminal Investigation Department obtained a statement from former Public Security Minister Tiran Alas today. This statement was obtained regarding the death of a police sergeant from the Colombo Crimes Division during a shooting incident near a hotel in Valigama, Mathara in 2023. After being notified to appear at the CID, former Public Security Minister Tiran Alas arrived at the CID premises at around 10:45 a.m. today. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the former minister left the CID after providing a statement for over 5.5 hours. A police sergeant from the Colombo Crimes Division was killed in a shooting incident near a hotel in Valigama, Mathara in 2023. Following an investigation conducted by the Criminal Investigation Department, the facts were presented to the Mathara Magistrates Court, which subsequently issued an arrest warrant for Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tenakon. He is currently in remand custody in connection with this incident.
The Court of Appeal today ordered the immediate release of attorney-at-law Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga, who had been remanded by Putlam High Court Judge Nadi Aparna Suandurukoda for failing to meet bail conditions on charges of contempt of court. The decision was made after considering a petition filed by the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Rajiv Amarasuriya. The petition was heard by a bench of Court of Appeal judges, including Acting President Justice Mohammed Lafa Tahir and Justice Priyantha Fernando.
Why was Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga remanded?
2 charges were filed against attorney-at-law Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga by the Putlam High Court. The first charge alleged that on the 7th of March 2025, she intentionally failed to address the High Court judge with due respect during a case. The second charge claimed that on the 28th of March 2025, she deliberately failed to bow and salute the court upon entering the courtroom. These charges were filed under the Contempt of Court, Judicial Authority and Judicial Organization Acts. Following the indictment, Samaratunga was taken into custody last Friday. Attorney-at-law Nadiha Abbas later filed a bail application on her behalf. High Court Judge Nadi Aparna Suandurukoda ordered Samaratunga to post 2 surety bonds of 2.5 million rupees each, with sureties residing in the Putlam area. However, due to her inability to meet these bail conditions, she was remanded in custody.
What happened next?
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka intervened in the matter concerning Attorney-at-Law Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga, with its President, Attorney-at-Law Rajiv Amarasuriya, taking decisive steps to file a writ petition before the Court of Appeal. The petition highlighted that although there is a formal procedure for addressing charges of contempt of court, the High Court judge had not adhered to that process in initiating charges against the Attorney-at-Law. In the writ petition, Amarasuriya underscored the importance of mutual respect between the judiciary and legal professionals for the smooth administration of justice in Sri Lanka. He stated, quote, "For the proper functioning of the justice system, it is essential that there exists mutual respect between the judiciary and lawyers. Any act that undermines this sacred relationship threatens to unravel the very fabric of the rule of law. Both the judiciary and the legal profession must exercise the utmost caution to prevent actions that could erode this vital respect. Otherwise, a conflict between the two will become unavoidable." Unquote.
What led to the release of Priyanka Samaratunga?
Although it was a public holiday, the petition was promptly brought before a bench comprising the acting president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Mohammad Lafa Tahir, and Justice Priyantha Fernando. Acting on the advice of Senior Instructing Attorney G.G. Arul Prakasam, the President of the Bar Association, Rajiv Amarasuriya, who filed the petition, was supported by a team of distinguished lawyers, including President's Counsel Faiza Mustafa, President's Counsel Salia Piris, and others who appeared before the court. Deputy Solicitor General Manohara Jayasinghe and State Counsel Navodi Dizoiza appeared on behalf of the Attorney General and informed the court that the Attorney General had no objection to the court making the appropriate decisions in this matter. After reviewing the petition, the bench ordered the immediate release of Attorney-at-Law Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga, who had been remanded in custody due to her inability to meet the bail conditions set by the Puttlam High Court judge. The Court of Appeal further ordered that she appear before the court on the 28th of April.
In accordance with an order issued by the Court of Appeal, Attorney-at-Law Priyanka Udayangani Samaratunga, who was in remand custody, was released this afternoon from the Variapola prison. A group of senior lawyers, including the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Attorney-at-Law Rajiv Amarasuriya, also arrived in Variapola this afternoon.
Specifically, the Bar Association intervened in this matter because we must ensure there is no disruption in the necessary collaboration between the judiciary and the legal community. We must not allow this relationship to break down. Therefore, we intervened at this point. Another key aspect is the need to safeguard the dignity of the legal profession. If there are any compromises in this regard, we seek cooperation from the court. It is in such circumstances that we, as a group of legal professionals, have come together for this occasion.
The People's Struggle Alliance states that merely presenting and debating the Batalanda Commission report in Parliament holds no significance. They emphasize that individuals responsible for the crimes committed in Batalanda must be immediately arrested and brought to justice.
Batalanda Commission report.
ඒකේ විත්තිකරුවන් හඳුනා ගැනීම අපහසු නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අපි ආණ්ඩුවට කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සභාගත කරලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සාකච්ඡා.
Identifying defendants through it isn't tough. We wish to urge the government to go beyond merely tabling this in Parliament and debating it. We continue to tell the government to commence a judicial process and arrest those who are connected to the crimes at Batalanda, including Ranil Wickramasinghe. We remain prepared to provide necessary evidence and extend our support to the government when required in the course of the judicial process.
නෛතික ක්‍රියාමාර්ගවලදී අපේ නිරන්තරව අපේ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්නට අපි සූදානමින් ඉන්නවා.
Speaking at a media briefing today, the Jana Bala movement claimed that there is no impediment to apply the law to crimes revealed through the Batalanda Commission report.
අපි යෝජනා කරනවා මේ සභාගත කිරීම පමණක් නෙවෙයි.
Our suggestion is not to limit this to being tabled in Parliament because individuals like Ranil Wickremesinghe and Douglas Pearce are still very much alive. Ranil Wickremesinghe was the political figure who directed the Batalanda torture chamber. Similarly, Douglas Pearce is the murderer from the police. He is currently in hiding within the country. The law must be mobilized immediately against them, regardless of the basis of forming the commission. There is no obstruction for legal action to be taken on its revelations. The current government has a political and moral obligation to do so.
Who is Douglas Pearce? Mentioned in the Batalanda Commission report. Douglas Pearce, who joined the police force as a constable in 1967, was promoted to the rank of police inspector in 1971 and later to Chief Inspector of Police in 1985. In 1987, he was appointed as the Acting Assistant Superintendent of Police for Operations and led the Kalaniya Anti-Subversive Unit. However, he has faced serious criticism for being appointed as a Senior Superintendent of Police without meeting the required qualifications. What are the allegations against Douglas Pearce? Although Douglas Pearce had faced multiple allegations related to brutal acts committed at the Batalanda torture chamber, the only legal case against him in court pertains to an abduction incident. This case involves the abduction of a resident from Delgoda on the 1st of July 1989, allegedly with the intent to cause his death while dressed in official police attire. On the 26th of August 2009, the Gampaha High Court sentenced Douglas Pearce and 4 other defendants to 5 years of rigorous imprisonment after finding them guilty of the crime. However, Pearce appealed the verdict and on the 25th of July 2024, the Court of Appeal ordered the immediate enforcement of the 5-year rigorous imprisonment sentence against him and the other defendants. Subsequently, Douglas Pearce challenged this decision before the Supreme Court and the case is scheduled to be heard in June this year. As part of Newsfirst's investigative reporting based on the Batalanda Commission report, we contacted Douglas Pearce on the 17th of March to obtain his response regarding the allegations against him. Following the initial call, Newsfirst was unable to contact Douglas Pearce despite multiple attempts. As a result, a Newsfirst correspondent was directed to travel to his residence located in Varakapula. Following his visit, our correspondent noted that a woman residing in the home with Douglas Pearce had declined to comment to the media. If there is a genuine intent to deliver justice for the horrific atrocities revealed through the Batalanda Commission report, our investigative reports have provided ample avenues. How will justice intended by the masses for these crimes be delivered in its entirety if a judicial process on this matter is not commenced and it is only limited to a parliamentary debate?
The Batalanda Commission report. News first with the people.
News First. Main sponsor.
Tokyo super. All of it super. Tokyo super. All of it super.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake says the agreement with the Adani Group will proceed based on terms that are favourable to the government. The President expressed these remarks during a public rally held in Buttala this evening.
A wind power plant is going to be established in Mannar. The agreement was signed. How much will a unit be purchased for? 4.54 US cents. In rupee terms, it is around 13. Ranil Wickremesinghe planned to construct a similar wind power plant in Mannar. Units were to be bought at 8.26 US cents, that is 25 rupees. The cost of electricity would have doubled. We rejected it. Then I heard the former president calling for it to be purchased somehow. Maybe he already received a certain sum. It will not be done, regardless of whose feelings are hurt. A unit of electricity will not be bought for 25 rupees when it is possible to be bought at 13 rupees. Governments in the past would have done it, but not an NPP government. If it can be purchased at 13 rupees, others can follow suit. But the going rate was in fact 13 rupees, even in the past. However, the excess was shared amongst them.
The president also spoke on the current status of the Pelavatta sugar factory.
I will tell you with a set of data what has happened to Pelvatta. Usually, an 18% VAT is charged on local products. Pelvatta has not paid that VAT for a long time. There is an arrears of over 702 million rupees. Another tax is charged on molasses. That is in arrears of 21.5 million rupees. Another 146 million rupees in taxes is yet to be paid. There is another 1.22 billion rupees in loans that are to be paid, and income tax of another 166 million rupees has not been paid either. Profit margins of another 407 million rupees are to be paid. A banked overdraft of 763 million rupees is also overdue. There are more loans accumulating to more than 400 million rupees for purchasers, including fertilizer. A total debt of 3.94 billion rupees has been accumulated. These entities have been destroyed. A kilo of sugar produced in Brazil, coming through all its processors, only costs 190 rupees in Sevanagala. But sugar produced in Sevanagala costs 250 rupees. How can industries be sustained? But give us time. Not only that, EPF ETF has not been paid either. 166 million rupees. I wish to appeal to the employees there. We will resolve your issues fairly, but it will not result in the sugar factory's destruction and instead towards its betterment. The debt burden is greater than the value of the sugar cane, the sugar in the warehouse and the factory. Let's assume we decide to sell the factory. We will have to pay them to buy it. This is how our institutions have been crippled. We will revive them. Give us a reasonable period of time. We will develop the Pelvatta sugar factory to benefit farmers and the employees. We need a certain time period for it.
Ramadan, it signifies the blessed month. Today, Muslims across the world celebrate Eid ul-Fitr, marking the completion of that blessed month.
Ramadan is regarded as the month during which the first revelations of the Quran, the sacred text of Islam, were revealed to Prophet Muhammad. Muslims believe that these revelations were sent during Laylatul Qadr, a night of great significance. Ramadan is a sacred time for Muslims marked by fasting, self-discipline and increased devotion through prayer and reflection. Fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. During Ramadan, Muslims observe fasting from dawn until sunset each day. They break their fast at sunset by sharing meals with their family and friends. With the sighting of the new moon last night, the Muslim community has gathered to celebrate Eid al-Fitr today. Muslims are keen to pay homage to their deceased relatives, seek blessings from their parents and elders, and share moments of joy with family, friends and neighbors. On this auspicious day, special prayers and religious services were held in mosques across the island. A significant number of people gathered at the Colombo Grand Mosque to participate in the religious services held for Ramadan. As is customary, religious services were also held at Golface Green for Ramadan festival. This is how the religious services were conducted at the Hatton Jumma Mosque.
උතුරු මැද පළාතේ අනුරාධපුර දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ දකුණු මායිමට වන්නට පිහිටා ඇති ගල්නෑව ස්වභාව සෞන්දර්යයෙන් අනූන සාරවත් කෘෂිකර්මික ජීවන රටාවකට උරුමකම් කියන්නේ අනුරාධපුර රාජධානියේ ඓතිහාසික විශිෂ්ටත්වයට ජීවමාන සාක්ෂියක් බවට පත්වෙමින් මෙවන් වූ ඓතිහාසික වටිනාකමකින් යුත් රාජ්‍ය රට පුරවරයේ ගල්නෑවට මෙවර සිරස වසන්ත උදානය අරගෙන අපි එනවා.
More than 2,000 people have died in Myanmar following Friday's powerful earthquake, the country's military leadership says as it declared a week of national mourning.
A powerful earthquake struck Myanmar last Friday and more than 2,000 people have lost their lives because of that earthquake. So what is the latest information coming from Myanmar and also Thailand? Let's have a look. Situation in Myanmar.
The search of missing persons continues in Myanmar following a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck on Friday. The earthquake, which originated from 10 kilometers underground, was followed by a significant 6.4 magnitude aftershock just 12 minutes later, located 18 kilometers from Shagain. Survivors were pulled out of rubble as efforts intensified to find people trapped for 3 days. The World Health Organization has emphasized the urgent need for assistance to provide essential relief and medical treatment to those affected by the devastating tremor. International support is also being mobilized, with China reported to be among the nations providing aid. Compounding the crises, the ongoing conflict involving the Myanmar military and armed groups continues in the region, further complicating rescue and aid delivery efforts.
Situation in Thailand.
The powerful earthquake that struck neighboring Myanmar was also felt strongly in Thailand, tragically resulting in 19 deaths. Authorities have launched a thorough investigation into the complete collapse of a 33-story building that was under construction. Foreign Media reported that a Thai government committee has been appointed to determine whether design flaws or structural deficiencies contributed to the catastrophic failure of the building. The structure, initially slated for completion in 2020, was reportedly being used for inspections at the same time of the collapse.
What happened in Tonga?
A tsunami warning that was issued for the Pacific Island region following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Tonga has now been lifted. The United States Geological Survey confirmed that the threat of tsunami waves has passed. The earthquake, which struck in the Tonga Sea, was followed by 6 aftershocks. The initial warning had indicated the potential for tsunami waves to reach coastlines within a 300-kilometer radius of the earthquake's epicenter. Consequently, coastal communities in Tonga were urged to evacuate to higher ground as a precautionary measure.
Yesterday as well, a powerful earthquake struck near Tonga, and on Friday, an earthquake struck in Myanmar. So you might have a question in your mind whether these two earthquakes have a connection. So today I got the opportunity to have a conversation with Professor Charita Pattiarachchi. So let's have a look about what he had to say about these earthquakes.
Sometimes there's a relationship, but it's not. We can't conclusively say that they are related. You could actually say because the earthquake is basically the release of energy which has been built up over many years. So it is very hard to say a release of energy in one area also releases the energy in a different area. But we don't know at the moment that they're actually related. They could be. We all experienced the 2004 tsunami, and that tsunami was created by earthquake of Sumatra. That same plate boundary actually extends from Sumatra to Myanmar from the ocean onto the land. And that land part is the same boundary which created this earthquake. So you can actually say it's related to the 2004 earthquake because it's occurred along the same plate boundary. The plate boundary that we're talking about goes from north of Australia, from around even probably eastern Indonesia, let's say Timor-Leste. That's what we call the Sumatra Trench, right? So that boundary goes all the way around Indonesia, past Thailand, into Bangladesh, into Myanmar. So earthquakes have happened over the last 100 in the whole geological time along that boundary. And that boundary is, what, I guess 5,000 or 6,000 kilometers. And it will occur, and it will occur again. But the problem is that we don't know when it will occur. We can't predict where it will happen because we don't know how much energy has been stored in that particular resource. But what we do know is that once that energy has been released, it takes another many years for that energy to be built up in that particular area. So it's very rare to an earthquake to happen in exactly the same location within a few years or so.
In more news, gold prices have surged to historic highs today, reaching $3,094.32 per ounce, marking a significant milestone in the global market.
The price of gold surged to a record high today, reaching $3,094.32 per ounce. This marks a significant milestone in the global market as the value of gold continues to rise rapidly in recent times.
අනුරාධපුර යුගයට අයත් ක්‍රිස්තු වර්ෂ 5 වැනි සියවසේදී ධාතුසේන රජතුමා විසින් නිර්මාණය කරන ලද අවකන බුදු පිළිමය කලාවැවට බටහිර දෙසින් ගල්නෑවට නුදුරින් පිහිටා ඇති දෙස් විදෙස් ආකර්ෂණීය ලද බෞද්ධයින්ගේ වන්දනාවට පාත්‍ර වන සුවිශේෂී ශෛලමය නිර්මාණයක්. ලොවක් මවිත කළ මෙවන් කලා නිර්මාණයන්ගෙන් හෙබි රජරටපුරවරේ ගල්නෑවට මෙවර Sirasa වසන්ත උදානය අරගෙන අපි එනවා.
The French far-right leader Marine Le Pen has been barred from running for president in 2027 after a court found her guilty of a vast system of embezzlement of European Parliament funds and banned her from running for public office with immediate effect.
The RN, the single largest party in the French parliament, immediately reacted with fury, calling the sentence a travesty and an attack on democracy backed by some politicians on the traditional right. Le Pen's party president, Jordan Bardella, 29, who could be seen as a replacement presidential candidate despite his relative inexperience, said, quote, "It is not only Marine Le Pen who was unjustly condemned, it was French democracy that was killed," end quote.
In a controversial move, Elon Musk handed out $1 million worth of checks to Wisconsin voters, stirring debate over whether it was a lawful act of political influence or a push against quote-unquote activist judges.
Billionaire Elon Musk has given away $1 million checks to voters in Wisconsin after the state's Supreme Court refused to intervene. Musk announced the prize earlier this week ahead of Wisconsin's tightly contested Supreme Court election to be held tomorrow.
You know, the reason for the checks is that it's really just to get attention. It's like we need to get attention, and it's somewhat inevitably when I do these things, it causes the legacy media to like kind of lose their minds. And then they'll run it on every news channel, and I'm like, I couldn't pay them it would cost like 10 times more.
Wisconsin Attorney General and Democrat Josh Cole had sued to stop the giveaway, arguing that Musk was violating the state law that bans gifts in exchange for votes. The race, which could flip control of the state Supreme Court to the Republicans, has become a flashpoint of the most expensive judicial election in American history. Speaking at a rally last night, Musk said, quote, "We just want judges to be judges," end quote, before handing out two $1 million checks to voters who had signed a petition to stop activist judges. Musk's lawyers added that the payments were, quote, intended to generate a grassroots movement in opposition to activist judges, not to expressly advocate for or against any candidate, end quote.
Shammi Silva has been re-elected as president of Sri Lanka Cricket for the year 2025 to 2027 term, marking his fourth consecutive term in office. Silva was elected uncontested alongside several other key office bearers, ensuring continued leadership for the organisation.
Sri Lanka Cricket has announced the re-election of Shammi Silva as president for the 2025-2027 term. Silva was elected uncontested, marking his fourth consecutive term in office and his third uncontested election. In addition to Silva's re-election, several other office bearers were also elected uncontested for the upcoming term. The newly elected officials include Honorary President Shammi Silva, Honorary Vice President Dr. Jayantha Dharmadasa, Honorary Vice President Ravin Vikramaratna, Honorary Secretary Bandula Disanaika, Honorary Treasurer Sujiva Godaliyatha, Honorary Assistant Secretary Krishantha Kapuate, Honorary Assistant Treasurer Lasantha Vikramasinghe. The election results was declared by the Election Committee, chaired by Honorable Retired Court of Appeal Justice Malini Gunaratna. The election was held during the 64th Annual General Meeting of Sri Lanka Cricket at the Cinnamon Grand in Colombo. This election confirms the continued leadership of Shammi Silva at the helm of Sri Lanka Cricket as the organisation looks ahead to the upcoming term.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.